What's up, YouTube? This is Lucifer Leghorn coming back at you with another video. And, book plug. I mentioned the other day that I had written a book in response to Twilight called Dark Awakening, which is actually book one of the Gothos saga that I've been kind of on and off writing and whatnot. So, here's my book. See, Lucifer Leghorn down below. This is all my cover artwork. I did all this. This is what this video is about. I wrote this a couple years back in response to the Twilight movie and book series. Because those series just angered me so much. I have sat down and watched the entire Twilight series, and I cringed my way through the whole thing. I actually do own the series. Well, Diana owns it, and she also owns the books too. She actually enjoys it. Me on the other hand, I'm like, no. So I took my knowledge from years of being involved in the occult and did a ton of further research. I mean, just stacks upon stacks of books and reference material. And I took an old short story of mine and I reworked it. I rewrote it into this. And mind you, it was like a 10-page short story, and by the end of it, by the time I got done with it, I had a 376-page novel. Couple comments, everybody who I've seen who's read my book has told me, it's pretty good. Just the other day, Matt Flower, is that correct? I can't remember. Matt left a comment on one of my videos saying that he had gotten my book for a buddy of his, and his buddy loved it. And, cool. Glad that he loved it. That's always encouraging. Currently, the book is only available on Lulu. There's a reason for that. It's a technical error on my end. It has been out for about a couple years now. And it's a technical error that I need to get corrected. And I plan on getting it corrected eventually. But the book is available on Lulu.com. I'll throw a link down in the description below to it. What is the book about? Well, it's about this guy who wakes up 10,000 years into the future out of cryosleep, and he's on this planet ruled by vampires and werewolves, and he has to come to grips with the culture shock of it all. It's got some pretty serious sexual themes in it, as vampires are very sexualized. But you don't want to get bitten by one of my vampires. That's not a good thing. The vampires in the book have a venom that is very toxic, and they need this venom to be able to drink the blood in order to survive, and they can't drink from a cup or anything. They have to drink it directly from a human source. So humans, while they're treated very well, are actually looked at as nothing more than cattle, but cattle that you got to keep happy. So slavery is a thing in the book. Sexual slavery is a thing in the book. Prostitution, forced prostitution. What it's basically is, it's a look at what would a world ruled by these creatures actually look like. What would it look like? and it's my interpretation of what that would be, and I tried to be as vampiric in thought as I could, while still telling a really good story from an Earth person's, you know, arriving on this planet, his perspective of it, and how he has to learn about this new culture, um, and what ways it's connected to our culture. Because this is a planet, this is a different planet. Um, like I think I said, it was like 50 light years away, and it was gonna take a 50-year journey in cryosleep just to get there. And this guy, he wakes up 10,000 years later on this planet, um, and just complete culture shock. Um, and eventually, it I'm not going to spoil the story too much, but um, it's about his first year or so on the planet and learning about this, mending from being in cryosleep for so long, and then dealing with the political um, backlash of his very presence on the planet. Yeah, he's got to, you know, deal with this political backlash, and you know, just all around explore vampirism. What I interpret as a more realistic, true to the classic vampirism is, and there's werewolves too, and the werewolves and the vampires aren't all totally enemies. They're actually working together in a lot of ways. Um, so it creates for some very interesting dynamics in how they fight together, how they work together, um, and how everybody lives together in this weird economy that humans, while being happy, are also seen as nothing more than food. And it gets really interesting to see how the dynamic works. That humans, on one hand, needed to be protected from being totally abused by vampires, but on the other hand, are cattle. You know, it's really interesting there, and then seeing the sexual nature of everything. Sexualism is really brought forward in, and how age of maturity is addressed in it, and how this age of maturity is different from how we would view it here on Earth, um, and how it would be the same too. So it really put me, when I was writing it, into a I had to go into frames of mind that I felt very uncomfortable with when I was writing this book. I would love to have it made into a movie, but it really made me think. Um, I'm really proud of it, you know, for all of its bits that make you nervous or uncomfortable reading them. Some very edgy stuff in there. But overall, people seem to like it. And I do need to get back to writing the second part of this series. I actually have like a whole big series plotted out in my head for it. Some of it shifting away from sexualism, some of it shifting more heavily towards it. But yeah, so that's my book. You can find it on Lulu.com currently. I am planning on correcting that at some point in the future where you can also get it on Amazon. But for now, you can only find it on Lulu. And tell me if you've gotten my book. Tell me what you think of it in the comments below. If you haven't, go pick it up. Go read it. I know you're gonna like it. It's gonna be if you're into vampires, if you're into werewolves, if you're into a little bit of steam diesel punk sci-fi stuff, there you go. And just go over to Lulu.com and pick it up. It is not all that expensive. It is, I don't really have a price tag on here. It's probably about 15, 20 bucks over on Lulu.com. And yeah, that's my book. It is called Dark Awakening, Gothos Saga, Book 1. Book 1 of the Gothos Saga. And just to give you, before I head out, a little bit of the blurb. It is all Michael McAllister wanted to do was start his life over on a newly discovered planet. But when he awakes from thousands of years in cryosleep, he finds a world ruled by creatures from his darkest fantasies. Now trapped in a world ruled by aristocratic vampires and werewolves, Michael must come to grips with a culture that preaches hedonistic desires and where humans are food for monsters. Caught up in a political struggle for his very life and soul, Michael must now adapt or die. And that is the blurb for it, and that's where I'm going to leave this video off. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Is this a book that you'd be interested in? I'd really love to hear from you. If you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, then hit that thumbs up or that thumbs down, and let me know what you think. It's Lucifer Leg of Borden, and I am out of here.